That was a hard one. I thought our kids played extremely hard. I thought they competed really well. I thought that, that they followed the game plan extremely well in the first half. I felt like when we came out of halftime, we didn't execute the first several possessions, and really against OU, you've really got to, you can't have empty offensive possessions because they're so good in transition that you've got to get great shots and continue to get to the free throw line. And I just didn't feel like we did that as well in the second half as we did the first half. I did think that we made a good push to come back at them. And then again, we had I think 3 empty possessions and got them in transition, and they scored it well. So that's a very experienced team. They played like it on the road, but we let that one slip away.
Bryn, how impressed are you with Bree's just whole string of high-scoring games this season?
I mean, we knew that was what she was capable of when she came in. I'm really proud of her for stepping up to that role and taking on that pressure and playing so well under it. She's been a really good leader for us so far, and we knew she was capable of that, and I'm just really proud of her for stepping up to it.
Yeah, Bryn, Coach kind of said she felt like y'all let this one slip away. Is that why it seems like it was so hard to take for y'all?
Absolutely. That game was lost in the last 3 minutes, it felt like, which is in a 40-minute game, that's really frustrating if we played so well for 37 minutes. And we had a lot of different rotations in there, and to have one little lapse is just very frustrating, and we all know we're better than that, and I think that's why we're so frustrated with it.
Bryn, tonight you guys had a pretty good, much better assist-turnover ratio than the previous 2 games, 20-10, and you were a big part of that. Just kind of what were you seeing out there that allowed you guys to pass the ball so well today?
That was part of our game plan is make 2 take you. That's always one of our biggest goals in the game, is to have a really good assist-to-turnover ratio. I think the fact that we're just a lot more focused on taking care of the ball, I think that's a big part of it, and we knew that we had to use a lot of the shot clock in order to limit OU's shot attempts. So I think we were really focused on time management today, and so I think that's a big part of it.
Anything else, Bryn, before we let you go? Great, thank you very much.
Thanks, y'all.
Who wants to start us off with Coach Curley? Jonathan, Corinne, Adrian.
Coach, how have you seen just the underclassmen on the team just adjusting to these just first 3 or 4 Big 12 games?
They're coming along. I think they're recognizing that it's a different level and it's a different style, the effort and the focus on just what our game plan is, how important our scout is. I think obviously we're asking them to play a lot of minutes and we're dependent on them to score, but to score some buckets at times. But, I think they're just learning every day that it's a grind and that they've really got to be focused on what our attack and our strategy is.
And Bryn touched on this earlier, but in what ways have you seen Bree kind of guide those underclassmen through these first Big 12 games?
I think Bree's just doing what Bree does. I think she scores it well. She attacks well. She's playing good defense. She's playing, I think, with 100% effort every single game and has been really, really focused on scout. So I think she's just leading by example more than anything.
Go to Stephen, and then we'll get back to you.
Coach, what was working for y'all behind the arc as far as y'all knocking down the looks you got?
Yeah, I think we were getting some paint touches. I think that anytime that you can get a paint touch or a post touch, good things are going to happen for you on the three-point line. And I thought we were being really aggressive in getting the ball to the paint, whether it be a post touch or someone attacking. And then we were able to find shooters on the perimeter. And our kids had their feet set, and they knocked them down. I liked their focus on the three-point line really well.
And we've talked a few times just about how so many Big 12 teams have multiple scores. Just how difficult was that to deal with tonight with what OU has?
Yeah, they're, I think they're, third in the nation in scoring or something like that. So yeah, I mean, we know that all 5 of their kids. I mean, every one of their kids came back on their roster for their basically COVID year, and they can all score it. They can all shoot the three. It's really difficult whenever they substitute Van in and she becomes a perimeter player as well, because we've got to kind of trade with going inside for us and trying to defend her on the perimeter. So they're difficult to defend, but I thought that, for probably 37 minutes, we defended them pretty well.
And Bree not getting the start, was that because of what happened at TCU?
It's just a coach's game day decision.
Hey, Coach, 10 lead changes in that one. Seems like a lot of them came down the stretch, too. In those moments, what are you saying to your team as you're trying to keep them in it?
Yeah, we knew there would be some runs. And we told our kids if they were up 20 or down 20, they better expect a run. I knew that Oklahoma would continue to shoot the basketball. So even if we were down, I knew that we could get back in. And so we just told them to keep fighting, but we can't have empty possessions back to back. And that's what happened. We had empty possessions back to back on the offensive end, and it turned into transition buckets for them on their end.
And 47-26 on rebounding tonight
Yeah.
from OU. What made it so tough to pull down boards with that?
Well, because they're so agile in the post, for one thing, but they just crashed really hard, and we had a small lineup for the majority of the game, and we just really struggled rebounding the basketball. But we certainly talked about that at halftime, and at the end of the day, we just didn't get that part of it done.
And leaving this game and going into the next one, too, as frustrating as it may be, it seems like you guys know exactly what happened down the stretch. Does that make it easier to correct going into the next couple of games, knowing that you walked out of this game knowing what you did wrong and what you can do
Well,
going forward?
you certainly hope that you learn from it, right? I mean, every loss you've got to learn from. And so that is something that we certainly will focus on is execution down the stretch. And up until this game, I think that we've won every fourth quarter that we've won the game in. And so it's a little disheartening, that we didn't use that experience to push through, but we'll learn from it. And we've got a lot of young kids that were on the floor late in the game, and they'll learn from it as well.
What kind of went into you not putting Ella and Jasmine Lewis on the floor as much?
But rebounding for one thing, they weren't helping us rebound when they were in the game, and then having to defend their perimeter. It's really difficult for them to, and in transition defense, they run the floor so well.
And Katie Farrell fouling out the 4th game in a row. How does it kind of hurt this team in a way to see one of the leaders not be able to play as much?
Yeah, she, Katie's big for us, and she does a lot of really good things. We need her on the floor. She just plays so hard. I think she gets the raw end of a deal sometimes on some of the plays that she makes and ends up fouling. But we need her on the floor, obviously, just for experience, just to have another ball handler, another passer that can see our open shooters or whatever that might be. And I needed to rebound it more as well. And she will, and we'll continue to try to find ways to keep her out of foul trouble. But right now she's drawn some of the toughest offensive assignments. She was having to guard Maddie Williams, who is, an all conference player. And, and she then had to switch over to guard some of the fives at times and just kind of, got in some foul trouble playing hard.
Coach, just what does it say about your players that, even against a ranked opponent, they felt like they were supposed to win? And obviously, it sounds like they're taking it as if they should have won tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. Every time you step on the floor, if we don't believe we can win, it's certainly not going to happen if we don't believe that. So they certainly thought that they should win. They know that they let it slip away at the end. In the Big 12, we're going to play ranked opponents. We're going to play teams that are more experienced than us, and we're just not in it right now for moral victories. We're over that. So this one hurts because we feel like we let it slip away, and on our home court especially. But they'll rise up tomorrow, and we'll get ready to play K-State. Thank you, guys.